So firstly, I would like you to introduce yourself, your company, industry, and your work experience.
Okay, so I work for Fox Mondle and Associates in Delhi. I'm the group head for intellectual property here. I have been working in intellectual property and the legal profession for the last almost 14 plus years now. I started in 2008. So that is basically my background. I used to work in Bombay before this, and before then I moved to Delhi. So it's been a span of 14 plus years across two cities. And all of my 14 plus years have been spent in the field of intellectual property.
So why did you select the specific industry?
So I had an interest. I wasn't very good with maths and science, to be very frank. And when I looked at my options, I mean, there was journalism was one option at that particular point of time, and we're speaking something around 2000, okay, when I passed out. So and then we had law, and then we had a couple of others, human resources, HR, and such roles. I did a correspondence course in law. You had these legal coachings, so they used to send you correspondence materials. So I did that coaching. I figured out that law was something that I liked. Considering that I had taken the arts group in my 11th and 12th, that kind of helped me as well because that gave me a base to move on to take up law. Certain subjects like political science, which I did in 11th and 12th, also came in law. Economics, they also came in law when I did it. So I guess once I decided what stream I wanted to take up, depending on what I was good at in my school, uh, I then kind of zeroed in on what are the professions I could take up and then kind of figured out that, okay, maybe this is something that I would like to do. So I took up law. Then obviously, once I took up law, I joined law college and I started learning more and went in depth into the study. I realized that, yes, this is something that I like doing. Of course, at that particular point of time, we study all laws in 5 years, right? So the only way you can fathom what you want to do after 5 years, because you could either become a litigation lawyer or corporate lawyer, and within corporate law, there's so many things you could specialize in, or you could do intellectual property and a whole host of other fields that were there. I realized that intellectual property was what I wanted to do because during my internships, I interned with litigation firms, I interned with tax firms, I interned with corporate firms. But when I interned with the IP firms, I felt, oh, I like this. I think this might be something that I would like to do. So I did a second internship with them, another IP firm, and I figured out, yes, looks like it's 50% I like doing this. Then went on a third internship, and by that time I was quite sure this is what I wanted to take up after I had finished my 5 years of study. Sometimes it is difficult for people to figure out what they want to do after 5 years, even after doing many internships. I guess I was lucky in that aspect because now you have so many choices of what within law itself that you want to specialize in, and most of the things are specialized again nowadays, unless you're a litigation lawyer and you're practicing pretty much the whole gambit of stuff. So now the choices are more, but for those who are passing out now, I would say, maybe work for a year or two if you aren't able to figure out what you want to do, figure out what area of law you want to specialize in, and then take it up and then continue with that throughout your life.
Okay, sir. And so next, I would like to ask if you could give us some idea about how your industry has shaped in the last 5 to 10 years, and how do you foresee it in the next 5 to 10 years?
So the industry has changed quite a bit from the time when I passed out, where, just to take IP as an example, IP wasn't something that was so great. Nobody wanted to take it. Like for my batch, 3 people took it, and my batch are 200 students, right? So from that to today, where you have 100 plus students wanting to join the IP sector or the IP field or intellectual property within law, it's such a sea change that has happened. Additionally, with the advent of law firms and the evolution of law firms coming forth, there has also been the sea change in how practice is now done. There is it's much more different than what it was. The pay standards have also increased from what it was maybe 15 years ago. To a large extent, in certain fields like litigation, you still have lower pay, but I mean, to a large extent, there has been a change in the last 10 years that I have seen and gone through. Um, Things are more fast paced now because with the advent of emails and your WhatsApp and your whole host of other services in which, and then now you have Zoom and Teams as well for clients and former consumers to reach out to you for help. Things have become more fast-paced. Now, when it becomes fast-paced, obviously one has to be careful of not burning out as well. So we are seeing a lot of students getting burned out because they come in and they start working at a full-paced environment like this, and in 3 to 4, 5 years they run out of steam. So it is good to understand, or to be able to understand, that working in a law firm is like a marathon. So you need to keep consistently performing, because every year the clock is reset, you go back to zero. Okay, your last year's performance, great, you're rewarded for it, that's it. Then you go back to zero and then you restart again every financial year. So it's a consistent marathon, and if you want to keep prolonging your career over a long period of time, you need to be able to run that marathon. Okay? So you need to have the stamina for it.
And so, how do you foresee the industry in the next 5 years?
So yes, we are going to face a lot of challenges. There are a huge number of lawyers which are there currently coming out and passing out of law colleges. The numbers have increased for sure. If you look into the numbers that were there 10 years ago and the number of numbers that are there now, it's huge. The changes occurred because law 10 or 15 years ago was not regarded maybe as a subject which everybody wanted to take. Uh, but it is over time, we have seen it become one of the most wanted areas to be of study, to be there in, for students in India. So we are having a huge number of lawyers passing out, and we're going to have huge number of lawyers again in the coming years. The question in front of law firms today is, are we able to imbibe all of them or not?
Yeah.
So the challenge for the legal sector is going to be, we have a huge number of lawyers. Where are they all going to go to? That is going to be something that is going to be very challenging. We are going to see new areas of law develop as well. If you look at technology, technology has changed over the last 10 years. We started off with the internet, and then we had social media, and now we have a huge new change coming about with Web 3.0 and blockchain technology and such other things. So these are going to be areas of law which are also going to be starting to be practiced by law firms. I mean, it may start in a small way. Esports, e-gaming, these are all areas which are going to, be up there in the forefront. Fantasy sports, another area. Earlier, we just used to have media laws. Now we have a whole host of these new things coming up, right? So these are all things which are going to be there in the next 5 years, and we can expect that it's going to be there. This is also going to, the use of technology is also going to change how we view contracts, how we view the Information Technology Act, and such other acts as well.
So next, I would like to ask you, what kind of job opportunities can youngsters expect in your industry in the next 5 years?
I mean, yes, like I stated earlier, there is a challenge because we have a huge number of lawyers and we may not have so many jobs currently within law firms. Law firms have increased the numbers, yes, of intakes, but are we intaking all that is there in the market today? The answer might be no. So in the next 5 years, job opportunities are going to be sometimes maybe difficult to come by, but it is also going to be more challenging because with the huge number of people, law firms also have the ability to be able to vet and get the best talent. So being the best talent out there and making sure that you are different from the 100 plus CVs that you receive is going to be a target that each law student will have to, undertake. Times have changed. It is not as easy as it was to get a job within the legal sector now. And there is a huge number of lawyers as well today.
Okay. And so now next, can you please throw some light on the challenges you faced during the initial years of your career and some advice you could give to youngsters to overcome or avoid these kind of challenges?
So law is a very trying profession for one. It became mentally and physically challenging. So that is one. There is the concept of long hours which one needs to put in. There's two ways to look at it. Litigation lawyers go to court the entire day and then they come back and then they have to start in the evening, and that contributes to long hours. And then there's this mistaken concept that if somebody starts work at 9:30, he has to sit late to be able to be regarded as being efficient. I believe that might be personally and professionally. I believe that that is not exactly the greatest thing to apply. If you're able to finish your work, and you should be able to finish your work within the given time span, you should be able to maintain the work-life balance. So that is definitely there. And I mean, apart from that, we are going to see changes in quite a lot of fields as well, because with younger lawyers coming and wanting to challenge um, the older ones who are already in the profession, like me, maybe have to up our game, or keep abreast of the latest laws and latest things that are out there as well, to be able to give proper advice to our clients.
So now, so the last question: what would you suggest to students to study and work in India, or to study and look for better job opportunities overseas? And where do you think there are better job opportunities likely to be in the future?
So it's a tricky question. Reason being that with law, you qualify in India. If you have to go outside India, you have to re-qualify. So it all depends on the objective. What are you trying to achieve? Okay. Do you want to work in India, or do you want to work outside India? Because if your aim is to work outside India, then you need to take the steps required for it. So if you want to go to Canada and practice law there, then you need to take steps to achieve that objective. And you need to be also taking into consideration the fact that then your education in India may not be the best way to go about it. So you need to chart your route as depending on the objective that you want to achieve. One. Two, as far as jobs opportunities in India is there, yes, it is challenging, but is it possible to get it? Yes. Like I stated earlier, one needs to make sure that one is different from the 100 other CVs that come to a law firm on a daily basis. What makes you different? Okay. When I get 100 CVs, we will obviously use a filtration system, right? We will always try to filter out and try to get maybe 20. So you need to be in that 20. What makes you be in that 20? So you need to understand that. So these are challenges. Yes, it is a challenging time period for Indian lawyers. But as far as jobs are concerned, it is not something that is not there. It is there. One just needs to be able to, it's more challenging to get it right now than it was years ago. And as far as where it is going to go, if you want to like the best countries to work for, there are quite a lot. Again, depends on what your end objective is. Do you want to settle in Canada? Do you want to settle in Singapore? Do you want to settle in the United States, UK? The laws of the United States are different from the laws of the UK. UK and India may have similarities because we both practice common law, but the US practices civil law. So it's completely dependent on what your end objective is, actually, to chart your course and to answer each of these questions that you put forth, Rishabh.
So then I think that will be it.
Perfect. Great, Rishabh. Just let me know if you need anything more.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so for your time.
Most welcome. Best of luck for your book. Say hi to your dad.
Thank you.